Okay? In this conversation, I'm going to tell you how important utilize your vocal cord and create the vocal variations. What do I mean? Vocal variation? You have to create those different tonal variation in your sound. Why? Why do you want to be so dramatic? No, it's not being dramatic. It's being impactful. I want you guys to correct these words. Being dramatic versus being impactful. What does it mean? Simple. See, our human brain is basically observe things in a very different way. We are not good at listening monotone sentences. We want to listen colorful sentences. We want to see that expression. We want to see the tonal variation. Is that it? Yes. For example, a paragraph or a page of a book, if I make the computer to read in a monotone voice, and after that I can bring somebody who is really good orator and who is really good with using his voice to communicate and ask you to read it with infusing emotion, I bet you definitely you love 100 times more this person reading than that monotone computer reading. And you remember what this person reading, the content what he read, much vividly than the machine read content. Generally, if you see, like listening a book versus reading a book has got a more memory because you're using eye and then you're contemplating. So there are two faculties are engaged. In a listening, you're just listening, the one faculty is engaged. Of course, you're seeing images in your head while you're listening, okay? But anyway, on the Google, if you just type it, in comparison, a physical book reading versus audiobook, which is a much better mode to receive information or receive knowledge or to increase knowledge which supports most, then you'll get answers, okay? So let's go on, let's move on to, because this is a casual conversation, this conversation keep growing, like whatever comes to our mind while we're conversing. Of course, we have two subjects. One is, how do we use our body or instrument which produces the sound? How do we prepare it? How do we become charismatic speakers? How do we become better public speaker? This is really important. Let's look at the public speaking. I love the subject. Being a public speaker, I love it because the public speaking is a opportunity to be with a larger number of people. That's the first thing. The second thing, you are proposing or communicating a story and you want everybody to participate in it, everybody to enjoy in it. You are entertaining people, isn't it? Yes. To be a good public speaker, you need to follow three things. The first thing, your content's supposed to be really good. The second thing, you should entertain your audience. What does it mean? You need to be really lively, exciting to share things. You should engage it. You should make the audience part of it. You need to develop skills and attitude and whatever, the techniques to engage with your audience. Content, entertaining. The last one is inspiring. C, content, E, entertaining, and lastly, I, inspiring. If anybody listens to or speak for 45 minutes, it should transform their life. It should inspire them. You need to develop skills and attitude and the techniques to engage with your audience. Content, entertaining, and lastly, I, inspiring. If anybody listens to or speak for 45 minutes, then it should transform their life. It should inspire them. They should feel, oh, let me go home and practice this. Let me apply some of the learning from this particular talk and see what kind of results I get. And when the person applies those techniques, he or she starts seeing the results. That's a fantastic. If you're able to inspire and transform people. So your content's supposed to be rich, involve your audience in your speech. You should be really engaging. And lastly, You should have the transformative quality. You should transform audience. That's how you become a great public speaker. See, there are many good public speakers, but they are academically good, they are technically good, but they are not great. Great public speakers are just great. There is no formula. You evolve from yourself to your next level. If that your next level happens to be great, you become a great public speaker. I hope I'm able to make sense to you. There is one aspect which I want to talk to you today, which is critical: showmanship. What does it mean, showmanship? I know there are a good number of people who have got a great content. There are a good number of people who they don't know how to involve audience. There are a good number of people that have an intent, they want to transform the listeners, but they're not able to do it. The great public speaker, when he gives a 45 minutes or an hour speech, all these three things you notice. How do we practice? Just put up a camera, put up some light, just to enrich the environment, then it starts speaking. Nowadays, you don't need to worry about camera hustle. You all carry a smartphone, put up a smartphone in front of you, you start speaking on any subject. Don't worry about initial subject. Try to use your vocal and try to say something, same thing if you want to say it. Because if you want to do everything in the first video, you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself. You might feel tired after a 10 minutes presentation. And you might feel hopeless because, of course, when you make your first video, second video, third video, you don't look good for yourself. You don't sound great for yourself. Hate yourself looking at your own video, listening to your own audio. This is psychological. It happens with everybody. So only if you practice for several months, then you develop the art of communication, and now you can use properly your hand gesture, or body language, and your expression. You know how to say something. You can add emotion to your words and your sentences. You can really create the drama. Unless you don't create this dance drama or this whole colorful conversation, I don't think you're gonna attract anybody's attention. I want you to learn this art of communication. Communication doesn't mean speaking flawless English or using appropriate vocabulary or saying sentences grammatically right. That any damn ChatGPT can do that. Speaking means connecting with your audience. Audience should enjoy every sentence you say. Exaggeration works fantastically because humans are very good remembering those exaggerated versions, and it becomes part of your memory. If you say something very in a monotone way, people won't remember. Just forget it very quickly. If something is got exaggerated, you will remember. So anyway, you got the point. What I'm trying to tell you, the significance of developing voice. Okay, your ability to produce variety of voice. Of course, there are few exercises I will teach you, and then there are ways how you can train your own voice. That's another thing. And third thing, every language, whether it is Arabic or French or English, each language have got their own rhythm, articulation or pronunciation. So you need to learn